You're stuck inside a camper on a rainy day with a family, you are going to appreciate what they did here. Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd Bish's RV back again here at Cherokee RV. This is the 29NM. I call it the New Mexico. You'll never guess why. The thing is, like, the bedroom, the bathroom, the living room and kitchen, they're all straightforward. You've seen it done 100 times, and there's nothing wrong with them. They did them very, very well. It's a great little arrangement. But what they tacked on the back of this thing is one of the craziest multifunction flex use combo rooms I think I've ever seen in a camper. It's almost like they had 4 or 5 leftover half pieces of a rear bunkhouse or something that they just slapped together and somehow it all fit. Like, you've got a big dinette for the kids back there. You have L-shaped bunks, which can be really good if you have bigger kids. You have some storage back there, a little bit of open floor space to throw some Legos down. And then this cargo door, where when you're going down the road, you got a place to keep stuff. Like, it's weird, but it works. And it's funny how it's just like sort of hidden behind a rear wall entertainment center, but it's one of those things that it just shouldn't work, but somehow it does. I don't know. There are some concerns people have. Like, I always try to be fair and tell you the ups and the downs. It can potentially sleep a lot of people. And it has limited holding tank capacities, given the size of the RV and the number of people that it can sleep. And it's not a bath and a half model. So those factors might not be ideal for everybody. However, if you are like a couple who maybe sometimes has guests, or if you're looking for something with like a private craft room, or this would be an easy office conversion, this doesn't have to just be a bunkhouse. And I think that's probably one of the coolest things about it. Now, they applied a few small decor updates here and there. Nothing major. Like, for the most part, this still looks very much like the Gray Wolf that we saw last year. There's a couple things you can keep an eye out for on the inside. It's easy to recognize. Like, if the outside has the fancy shiny gray fiberglass and black label edition, you'll have fancy shiny solid surface countertop here in the kitchen too. The rest of the counters won't necessarily change. A couple little material colors might shift, but those are the biggest things. Now, there is an insanely aggressive neon blue Smurf light above this entire slide fascia. If I kick it on video, it just floods the frame and the whole video becomes almost unwatchable. And right now, the video's only unlistenable, so you can fix that by just hitting the mute button, which my wife tries to do to me in real life all the time, but you get the idea. So we'll come back to all of our living roomy stuff in just a minute. First of all, I say that, and then I point the camera directly at a sofa. What I was kind of getting at is, I mentioned earlier, it's weird, but like the bunk flex room, I don't know what else to call it, is just sort of hidden back here. Now, it's not like it's a super secret. There's a door, there's a passageway, but I don't remember. Okay, there is. There's a little bit of storage right here, kind of behind. It's tricky because there's a weird triangular entertainment center. They didn't run it all the way down. I wonder why we paneled these off and didn't use them. It's possible there's something in the wall. It's also possible they just didn't feel like it. I don't know. Moving back here into the very private rear room, you see that if you want to, you can provide the kids with some entertainment back here. But again, it just doesn't have to just be a bunkhouse. Obviously, that's the most direct usage for this floor plan. It could easily convert into some other things, though, if I'm not mistaken, because I do see that strap back there. This is, of course, I got to get over a little bit closer to it. This is what I call a move bunk. Get out the way. It does need to be strapped up in place, and it looks like this likes to pinch the other mattress. So it's not like it's a big hard fight. It's just it's a little thing. Here's the thing, though. That is if you look at this wall, that's an extra long, like, adult size bunk, because you're getting the width of one bunk plus the length of another. So that can create a space for a larger teen or an adult guest that doesn't normally fit well into bunk rooms. The thing is, down here, this is very interesting because you're looking at this and it's a dinette. And you're probably estimating, yeah, but that could fold down into a sleeper. You know, I've seen this show before, but probably not like this, because it's actually a pair of jackknife fold down sleeper storage sofas. And they obviously don't quite meet in the middle. And when I had a break there on camera, I thought I'll go ahead and show them the move, bunk, get out the way function. It's so interesting, it's ludicrous. But also, working our way over here, some storage for the kids. Now, I feel like they ran a marathon, then as soon as they saw the finish line, they walked off the track. They gave us a spot that could be cool for like a hanging closet, but they didn't give us a hanging rod. So, I don't know, maybe you can just pack, rack, and stack a bunch of duffel bags or something in there. They did a good job, though, of giving us power outlets for each of the bunks. Absolutely a must for my family when we go camping, you know, keeping all the devices charged up. We all have to have 40 million USB powered devices. So, you know, that's the nature of a tech addicted society, I suppose. And I mentioned the word storage in relation to these sofas. They actually kind of get in on the action as well. I know this is some kind of weird pointed camera. What? Okay, apparently that is the power inlet for this RV sticking through under there. This is available, by the way, either 30 or 50 amp. Some folks might want a second air conditioner set up on an RV this large. I certainly can understand that desire. I also, I noticed that is tuned to the key of F. Okay, what do I want to do here? All right. I'm going to give you a little bit of a look at the campsite as I slowly work my way around, and then give you a view from the sofa. This is kind of something I like to do. I call putting you in the driver's seat. Now, you might notice how everything suddenly looks very rose gold on camera. It's just because this camera is fighting between the lighting in the RV and the natural lighting coming in. They just don't always like to play nice with one another. The open floor space here is a little bit interesting. Again, this whole rear corner interchange is kind of odd. If there's one little thing I would do, you probably noticed no TV standard, but that blank wall to the right of the entertainment center there, I would probably put like some kind of jacket or broom hanger or something there to make that a little more of a functional, usable space. Now, back over here on the campsite, when we get up into the kitchen, you might notice how there's a lot of overhead cabinet storage, but no microwave. That's because you have a 3-in-1 electric oven going on down here below the countertop level. They just don't offer a propane oven solution on these at all, really. That is a larger 10 cubic foot, 12-volt compressor fridge. Working our way around over here, I want to mention a couple things. This is an exact slide. It's a cable slide system. This is the exact slide variety. One of the benefits of that is that while the slide's retracted, if you need to use the dinette or the sleeper for some reason, you generally are still able to do so. Actually, I was just about to cut over to storage footage, but I'm going to slowly work you back over here to the sofa because we got a little Monopoly slot down here. There's 4 to, 6 inches deep. A little bit of space down there, but hey, when it comes to storage, every ounce counts right now. I'm sure you've guessed that does fold down to a sleeper, just like the ones in the bunk room. And this folds down into an extra large sleeper. The drawers make it very easy to access everything, but they're so large, they actually don't have runner glides. It'd be hanging out too far. They're a large drawer. You could load the living crap out of them, and they didn't want you to accidentally break something. Working our way around, floor to ceiling pantry. This has a 6.5 foot interior clearance, by the way. So 6.5 foot tall pantry. I don't have the hard measurement, about 2 feet deep. Deep enough that it's serious, but not so deep that you can't reach it. So skirted that line very nicely right there. Working our way around, the magnetic holdbacks on the baggage doors, dummy. Cabinet doors. There we go. These are all hardwood door frames, by the way. It's actually kind of surprising how many far higher cost RVs will have wrapped cabinet doors, not just cabinet styles and rails. Like this is a wrap. This is a sticker wrap on here. I'm not going to pretend it's not, but that's actually wood. There's some companies that have like particle board and sticker wrap cabinet doors. Those I don't necessarily love. It's not often, but I have seen those things kind of fail over time. I mentioned how we have that 3-in-1 electric oven. Remember, you do have a propane cooktop above that, and you have propane cooking outside. You just don't have a traditional oven in this one, nor is that an available option. What is interesting to me, though, is what they do for a wastebasket solution. See where it is now? Now, taking a look over at the bottom drawer there, that's actually how it ships. But because that little trash can holder insert is removable, and because the trash can itself is movable, I kind of prefer to leave it under the kitchen sink so that I at least have 2 functional kitchen drawers, because one feels a little bit lacking. Now, I mentioned earlier you can get this 50 amp service. You can get it with a second air conditioner. Your main air is 15,000 BTU. I can't remember if I've said that or not. I've made a lot of videos today, and it has all blended together. I have this weird way of backing into bathrooms without necessarily meaning to, but here we are. So let's see what we can make of it. There's tons of space around that toilet right there. That's not a problem. And this is a large shower area. That's like one of those larger 30 by 36 showers. You can see the bigger XL vent fan. That's going to be standard, whether it's like today we're in the standard series or Black Label edition, either way. But without a extra tall ceiling, when I stand in that shower, my head's absolutely up there in the bubble. There's just no denying it whatsoever. Spinning around over here. This is, I mentioned when the video started, it's a walk-through middle bathroom. Some people like them. Some people don't. On a family camper, it's not my favorite thing, but I'm a family of 3. We could probably make it. This thing, though, can sleep everybody and their brother and their neighbor, so that might be a point to potentially consider. One thing I was kind of looking for, I haven't really seen a lot of, is like, where do I hang a towel to dry it off? That wall is just kind of begging for, oh, hello. Hold on, let me back up here. How did I miss this before? Just doing a little bit of radius work on these doors. Okay, I see you, Cherokee. Nice little touch there. Doesn't have to be over the top, shamazing. It's just, man, it's just got to be something, you know? Okay, I give him credit for that. Now, the entry door here, that in the bedroom can actually be handy for a couple of reasons. If you put the kids to sleep, and then that the way that I said that, it kind of sounded like you put a chokehold, like you put the kids in a rear naked choke from the Ultimate Fighting Championship and you put them to sleep. If you put the kids to bed and you want to stay up and like hang around the campfire, it can be really nice to have a door to still kind of come and go without necessarily waking everybody up. You do have decent overhead cabinet space, but as you're seeing, they don't really hold themselves. I've seen some cool solutions though. You know those basic plastic baggage door holdbacks that people put on the outside of the campers? You can put one actually up here on the ceiling. It's an easy, very inexpensive DIY solution. Now, in case you're curious why this side stand is floating over the bed, it's because it's actually a slide open drawer, and I figured that was one of the best ways to help me remember that. I'm doing a Luke knee walker maneuver to get on the bed because I wanted to showcase for you. It's actually pretty good size. Now, obviously, that's a pillow, and it can squish down into smaller spaces, but you can put an awful lot of junk inside that trunk right there. And that is a single point household outlet and USB plug with inversion brick, basically. So the USB plugs just work normally. The household plug, if you're park camping, works normally. But if you're battery powered only boondock dry camping, that's got about 150 watt inverter function, which is not much, but just enough to like run a CPAP machine or something like that. You do have a little bit of hanging storage up here, but that's literally the only hanging storage in the entirety of this RV. And let me see if I can give you just kind of at least the general idea. Around the corner, you can see that little shelf sticking out behind the hanging wardrobe. There are some power outlets back there. So both sides of the bed do have outlets. You know, you have your phone charging solutions. Basically, anywhere you sit or sleep, Cherokee's going to be very good about that. And once again, I don't know why I continue to do this. I find myself backing up into everything and trying not to trip on stuff instead of just doing a clean break on the video. I don't know why I do this to myself, but here we are. And I've recorded this RV before, but I've recorded thousands of RVs, like quite literally thousands of videos. I don't remember the road mode being this good. I don't think they changed anything. I think I just forgot. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a little tight right here, where you do have to do a sideways travel trailer two-step, and depending on your personal stature, you might not be able to squeeze the cheeks through there. I don't know. But if you got Johnny Long Legs chicken legs like me, or if you're a little slighter in stature, you could actually walk from front to back to front again in this RV without ever opening a slide. I noticed, once again, remember the exact slide system, that allows you to still use the seating and the sleeping in the slide in transit. Very few towable RVs offer you that benefit. So, interesting how functional this one actually is. Usually an RV this size just is not very good at traveling. Now, by the way, when you're traveling, you don't want to leave these in the flying V formation. Now, one of the first things I want to point out for you is that this 29 NM is 37.5 feet long. So I wouldn't even say take that model number with a grain of salt. Take it with a spoonful. Now, this is obviously a very different floor plan. In case you're curious, that's the 29GH. I will have footage of that coming out if I don't already. But I wanted to show you what the Black Label package looks like, because you can also get this in Black Label Edition. And if you check on the left side of the screen over here, you get to see what the weights and measures would look like in Black Label Edition. It will be a little bit different from the standard series. You pick up some equipment, you pick up a chunk of weight, especially in an RV this size, so kind of keep that in mind. Working our way around here, the front has that smooth aluminum. What you don't realize is that not all aluminum is the same. It's 67% thicker than the sidewall aluminum, so the whole front end of this thing is basically a stone guard, effectively. Power tongue jack on the front. Not every camper has that, so I still like to point it out just to let you know. There's a bird over here yelling at somebody. I don't even know if you can hear it on camera, but it is irritating me. I get very sonically triggered by things. There's just, like, I get locked in on sounds. I'm about to go way off script. Let's do it. So, my wife doesn't have that problem. I do. I was very curious as to why I get more locked in on a single sound than she does. Evidently, there may be an evolutionary trait there, dating back to the essentially hunter-gatherer times, where most commonly the men folk basically went out and about and did hunting and whatnot, and it helped them to be able to identify specific wild animal noises apart from like other woodland noises and zero in on them. Whereas ladies tend to be more generally aware of everything that's around them, whereas guys tend to only get locked in on one thing. So, ladies, if a guy gets stuck watching TV and he doesn't hear you, it's literally evolution. It's not he's trying to ignore you. Well, it could be a little bit of both. I don't know. Anyway, so there you go. There's some evolutionary traits for you. Under the kitchen counter, we have a little outdoor kitchenette. There is a griddle top included with that grill, in case you're so inclined. In case you're wondering, if you're not familiar, next to the outdoor hot cold water sprayer job, which can actually be good for rinsing the kids' feet off before they come in, you also have an ice maker. That thing will really crank out some serious ice, actually, too. This RV, they are using the black glass doors, and they look super smexy. Don't get me wrong. They look awesome, especially with the really reflective window package that they have on these. But those black glass doors get hotter than downtown hell when you touch them with a bare hand. So, please, let your kids know that. Because, man, nothing ruins a camping trip like a kid getting hurt. You know what I mean? Now, the cargo door over here kind of freaks some people out. They're afraid some gas station murder hobo's gonna come and get their kids. And I'm not saying you should never worry about your kids. You should always. But remember, this has a deadbolt. And if you're worried about this, remember that the RV's entry door was literally right next to the bunk room anyway. But all the logic in the world sometimes doesn't matter. Sometimes fear is just irrational. So if that cargo door doesn't give you the peace of mind you need to camp with comfort, maybe this isn't the right RV for you. There's other things. There's going to be other bunkhouses for sure that could work for you. So, just trying to give you some perspective. Sometimes that helps. This year they have standardized power corner stabilizer jacks. Previously they had optional power stabilizers. Now it's just, they went, here, we're just going to do these. You got the little drunken uncle leash latch on the back, the cargo tray on the back here. I think this is, theirs carries a 200-pound rating. Keep in mind, though, that is before the spare tire is factored in. So you have 200 pounds minus spare tire weight. I actually, it occurs to me as I say that out loud, I don't know what a spare tire weighs on an RV. No one's ever asked me. All the years I've done this. That's very interesting, actually. You may also notice a distinct lack of anything related to ladders on the back. Basically, they just don't do it anymore. They don't offer ladder prep. They don't offer ladders. The roof is walkable. That's actually some old school mentality and logic in the RV industry, that if an RV doesn't have a ladder, it's a non-walkable roof. That's really not true anymore. And apologies here. You're about to get a look at the almighty Mav, the nerd mobile who gets me around today. People will ask me, could a Maverick tow this camper? No, absolutely not. Just like the Ford Ranger, it was engineered with limitless towing and payload capacities. If I tried to hook up to this trailer, if I so much as breathed toward the accelerator, it would rip the chassis out from under this RV. It's absurd. So no, I don't think my truck is appropriate to tow this RV, just not for the reasons that you think. By the way, back on topic, we do have a battery tending solar package up on the roof, so when the sunshine comes out like it just did, it'll keep your batteries topped off, so that power tongue jack and awning and all that be good to go. The awning, by the way, it looks small. But again, keep in mind, we have a 37.5-foot camper. It's not a small awning. It's just a gigantic RV. Now, they'll never do it, probably because of the price point of this. But what would you say if they actually put 2 awnings on this? It would mean you'd have a split awning arm right in the middle of the RV. But what if you could have like double the awning coverage? Would that be worth it? So if you're curious to see what one of these is running, click the little link down there in the video description. You'll be able to double check pricing, availability, all that good stuff right there. Short of that, I would normally say here's also some links to something similar. I don't really know of anything else quite like this. It's a bit of a unique critter. Yeah, I'm trying to think of something now. Even now I can't. So I guess when you're ready, we're ready. Remember, we don't do hidden dealer fees. We just do everything else for you. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.